Welcome to Behavior Code Podcast. I have a very special guest, Jordan Soucy, who is an accomplished man himself and has a lot of exciting relationship stories and insights he's going to bring us. And I wanted the theme of this particular episode to be the interchange that needs to happen in moving on in relationships, particularly I was just lecturing and I was calling things residue, the energy residue of, I recently had an experience of heartbreak, and I was hanging out with a new girl. A new girl was asking me, what did I say? Something about the hurt. She had some idea, some spiritual idea of like, when you're spiritually advanced enough, then something about you won't have heartache. I don't know. And so I did the most poetic thing I've ever heard in my life. I said, but I'm not going to be able to repeat it now because it was the most poetic thing. I can't remake that. But it was something, the essence of it was something like, my last relationship ended about 2 weeks ago, hurt. And it hurt a lot. It's not the duration, it's the depth. And we went deep because we lived together the whole lockdown. And from zero to hero with that too, and traveled a lot. So it was a lot of Bonnie and Clyde type energy because the whole world was locked down and frowned upon us traveling. And we wore our masks, we just fuck you to the face that had like the gimmicky faces on it. Like we were just always like that with everybody. So we go deep with that. It separates. There's a heartache. It's not the same heartache as the previous relationship before that. It was 3.25 years. That was also deep and deep in a different way and super deep with duration too. Or deep with duration anyway. Super deep is probably longer. And all sorts of heartaches past that. But it's like, it's not the same heartache. It's a new place where my heart aches. And that's not when it heals. It's just when it stops aching so much, which is usually when a new woman is better. That's the exact place that I begin to love from. I was unaware of that location until it got hurt. And then I became aware of it. And then I can now fill it with, when I can create space there, I can fill it with love, you could say. It sounds so cheesy, but I don't even know why I was saying that. The whole idea is the residue of energy. The hurt was in a new place. There's energy there, and like changing it into like a new relationship, next relationship, or what do you do with that? Does that even make sense? And what do you think?
So it sounds like what you're saying is trying to transmute that hurt into motivation to get a new relationship.
So, well, sort of. No, I have the motivation. We should really get even more credentials for you, Jordan, because you're a messenger. You put down a lot of money to get the Tabiat trainings from Arashti Bazaar. You were that close to being broadcast on Dr. Phil. You were there. They just, right when Corona lockdown happened, they couldn't get a live audience because of Corona lockdown. So that's how exciting your relationship was, whatever. The storyline, your storyline, so yeah, the moving on process.
Mm-hmm.
What is that for you?
For myself, that's interesting that you went through a breakup very recently. Maybe a month ago, I went through a breakup with a girlfriend I was with, and I was with her for maybe 3 months. It was almost like an off and on 3 months, but how you're saying, like, it wasn't the time, but the depth of that relationship and who I was to her in that relationship, I find myself expressing different aspects of this idea of who I think I am in different relationships. And in that relationship, I really liked how we were relating to each other, but it was because I was much more dominant in that relationship than I had ever been before with another. I'm married and I'm still with my wife. And that was the reason for going on the Dr. Phil show, is the things, really the trials, everything we've been through. We've been together for 10 years. We have 2 kids together.
Yeah.
I kind of lost my train of thought.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Yeah, the 3 months and the transit. One of the things I recognized, and I'll probably recognize deeper and deeper as time moves forward, is how I start the frames of the beginning of the relationship become the frame of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for instance, let's say meeting a girl loosely, like let's say she's the kind of girl that hugs a lot of guys, and you're
Okay.
at like a festival or a yoga studio or whatever, a farmer's market, and you become one of those guys, and then you want to pull her from that dirtiness to be like a cleaner aura, so to speak. That's a difficult thing because you found her in that frame, and that's just such a tangible thing, just in the ways that you talk with each other and the way I treat her in the beginning. You know, I just am seeing more of like in the new interactions with new women, I'm seeing like more of the, you could say like a future with them. Like I play out like a maybe, like what if me and her tomorrow, the next day, for a few months, for a few years, like what would that look like? Just based on how we're interacting right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing so much more in just some of the nuances of how am I treating them in the beginning and what am I bringing out of them by how I treat them, is creating like the future them. Like I'm creating them with what I'm bringing out of them. And so then I have to like recognize, like, have I always been doing this? Because that would mean like every failure I created like that.
Yeah.
Plus whatever baggage they bring to it, but that just comes down to like a lack of skill if I don't know how to handle that particular kind of personality or whatever. Because if I'm a man, I mean, that's all it is. Not succeeding is a lack of skill.
Yeah.
Or discipline, which is a skill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to lecture you. It's just kind of like the realization I had was that the like, let's say the respect, it's not, I don't want to say just respect, but like the respectability, like how respectably I'm treating the person.
Okay.
That's I think really more accurate even to it. How respectably I treated her, or I'm treating them, is creating the respect. You could say, like almost like the bedrock undertone of the relationship, like something like that. Like how respectable I want her to be is how respectable I need to be treating her now. But am I? Like I have a reference for having a girl cutting off guys and behaving a certain way around me in public and just behaving a certain way when I'm not, especially when she's not even around me. And then meeting a bunch of new girls, I'm seeing fucking a labyrinth of behaviors that are some of them interesting, right? That's the spice of life. And then some of them are like ignorant. A lot of them are just ignorant. So it reminds me, even though I had a bad ending with my last girlfriend, and even though I had a bad ending, meaning like, I don't know what a fucking good ending would be, I guess. But even though I went through a painful breakup, I'm remembering things that I appreciated about her compliance, her submissiveness, or blah, blah, blah. Because new girls, while it's different because I have this different energy, it's like, they're just not that. They don't have that compliance. Maybe if they ever did, I would appreciate it in them. But it's like, I wish I had that experience while with her. I wonder if I would have treated her better if I had interacted with more other women to see really what it is to appreciate, because, right. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much, brother. What do you think?
No, that's good. That's excellent. Get that out. Yeah. Where do you want to go with this?
Well, how has your experiences been since your recent trainings with the Rashdi Bazaar?
I've been a lot more aware of. So before Arash,
by the way, that was a hell of a good way for him to lead me right there. So where do you want to go with this? That's a fucking manly fucking lead right there. I just had to acknowledge. Okay. So yeah, how has it been since your recent trainings? What's new and different?
Before Arash, there were things I would do and things I would not do subconsciously that I didn't know what it was that was triggering the attraction in the woman. After Rosh, a lot more things became aware of, oh my God, I'm doing this. And that's very unattractive to women. And I would see it in other men, really, and the way their relationship was going with their women and how they would relate to me, whether I was not like part of the relationship, but just because like everyone else, except for Arash's relationships, women talk to other men, and the way they would talk to me and the way I was received by them, I saw how, I guess I just became much more aware through what I've heard from Arash.
Right.
So, I mean, once you know those little keys, and I'm still learning them as I see myself mess up here and there, but then you can either amplify or get rid of the things that you don't want to put out anymore.
How do you do that? How do you acknowledge the things, like, what is it that, is it because you just see their reactions, or how are you molding yourself to better yourself?
So depending on the person, it's, do I want to win this person over or not? Are they somebody I want part of my life, or and it's not always in a sexual way either. You know, there's, I don't want to get with every woman. Like, Chris, will you give me one moment?
Yeah, of course.
I got a little one yelling.
Sure. I'm just gonna mute him. So it's very interesting. Oh, he's still, I don't know how I took over the screen there. Yeah. So Mr. Neil Care, without exposing ourselves to indifferences, I was just doing that throat singing for a second. That was a trip. We're unable to appreciate the indifferences we seek to acquire. Mr. Neil Care, Jordan was saying, I muted you, Jordan. Jordan was saying, what was the expression of myself in the relationship? Oh, that's what we were saying. Yeah, the expression, that's quite a way to put it. That's quite a way to put it. I don't even know if he said that. That's quite a way to put it. What was the expression of myself?
Jordan was saying, I said, what was the expression of myself in the relationships before you got sidetracked? That's sort of where you were.
I got it.
That was what you were saying, Chris. Without you looking for indifferences, and if you said, hey, what would have been like if I'd exposed myself to more differences, then I would be able to appreciate the indifferences that I'm after in this woman or the women that appeal to me, by exposing myself to other women that are different to the woman that is right for me.
Well, yeah, but there is that. But what I was also saying was another aspect of that, which was when you have a woman on lockdown, because the plight of the monogamous relationship is he loses appreciation for her, she loses respect for him, sex goes down, less frequent, less gratifying, et cetera, on a downward spiral of that, which has a lot to do. What I'm saying, it sounds so made up. It almost sounds made up. Like guys would just say this just to give them to somehow rationalize why they should be with multiple women. For a man to say, new woman refreshes me so that I can appreciate you for who you are. Sounds like a cop-out. Like, no, you just need to change something yourself. The problem is, no, that's actually what it is. That the sperm count of a man, if he's in a consensual, regular relationship, it just plummets after a while. But if he goes and meaning the sex gets less frequent and his loads have much less sperm count. If he goes and gets with a new woman, he can come back an hour later and fuck his woman, and he'll have skyrocket. He'll recharge so fast. So he will have blown 2 spunks, because that woman also, he would have built up, as the seduction builds up, he generates sperm very fast. This is science. Just look it up. He blows his load, comes back to his woman. He'll grow even more than he would have had he not been with the other woman. Life, the genetic code is saying that he recharges that thing that life needs, that's looking for the alpha male, the one to succeed. Mm-hmm. And but I'm saying on like a mental level, that's also happening in a way that maybe I don't have the language to explain it. So, whatever, I'll just say what it is that what you say, the differences in new girls' behavior from my standard of reference, which is old girl that I've trained for so long, helps me appreciate how far she's really come. Because if I'm only dealing with her, I'm like a fish in water, and I start to fucking complain about whatever a fish in water complains about. I don't know, but it goes into that plight of like nagging, not appreciating, nagging, disrespecting, lower sex, less nurturing, let herself go, less appreciation, less hustle, more nagging. Like that's basic. I mean, just look at evolution of desire. It's like they have statistics on actually that happening. the longer you're in monogamy. So having,
Mm.
I'm just saying that during lockdown, which was very difficult, like I had her bumbling and getting Bumble friends, like girlfriends, like I had her messaging like her Instagram audience. She was inviting people to yoga classes, whatever. Everybody was just scattered across the US, like at home or whatever. And, you know, wherever we were in San Jose, Houston, or Florida, whatever, nothing was really open. And meanwhile, she had an alternative love interest that was part of her circus crew that she's in the circus, whatever. I don't need to like air my laundry out, but you know, so we would never really fully got to that level of girlfriend. So I never really like pronounced her as a girlfriend. And, but which maybe was a problem, whatever, but that, you know, there's so many levels of the genetic code that the exchange is commitment for loyalty, that if there's not ultimate loyalty, there's not ultimate commitment. But ultimately, this is my life. So how long am I going to live in a limbo of not ultimate commitment? I'm looking to commit ultimately, because that's how you create, you know, ultimately. Okay. So
reference point, a comparison.
Yeah. So I saw Jordan, I saw you really heavily acknowledge when I was talking about, you know, I can appreciate how far she's come in the evolution.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So actually, I've been with a lot of women since my wife, you know, and she knows about them. And it's always like painful, you know, we go through whatever we have to go through.
Oh.
But it's important enough for me to figure it out. But several of those women, they actually made me appreciate her more, which was always interesting to me. Several of the women that I've gotten with, I was like, huh, she's actually a lot cleaner, you know, than...
Yes. We become hypercritical.
What's that?
We become hypercritical.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's our nature to control. And when there's not enough to control, chaos to control, we get too controlling of her.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
So really, a relationship that probably could have lasted, really, it just became, it was imbalanced because there was not enough chaos to control. So we overbeared on someone.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a problem of scarcity. That relationship may have lasted had there been more, but maybe it wouldn't have. I don't know. What I know is there was a woman the other day, a different woman was trying to say to me that actually it might've been the same woman, actually, that some men choose monogamy, blah, blah, blah. That stupid argument, so stupid that some men choose monogamy. The only examples of any man that choose monogamy that I would acknowledge would be like Donald Trump or Grant Cardone or something like that. Because how many men could choose multiple relationships? You can only really consider those men in the polling, because most men are not choosing monogamy. They just don't have access to it. Anything else.
Yeah.
And
it becomes very obvious in their relationship that that's what's going on.
Say again?
I said it becomes very obvious in their conversation, in their relationship, that that's what's going on. It's not available to them.
Yeah.
Or at least it's not available to them.
Yeah, and I remember early on, it was so theory for me that's what it was for me. It wasn't available to me. It was just the idea, which is fine. It's just we as a man get so obsessed with that idea and we communicate it too enthusiastically to her. She's not so fucking thrilled about it. She's coming from the other end of society's telling her that she's going to be unhappy with that. But the fact is that if you want this kind of loyal relationship where she's not talking about, this is absurd, by the way. We are literally in the year 2020. Satan is fucking controlling the whole planet Earth, and women are public property, fucking everybody. And we just want some good old girls to be loyal to their fucking man, because she was designed to have one man's baby at a time. And if he's the best man, to just have his babies the whole rest of her life. Because what else are you going to do? That's the best investment if you found the best man you could. And what was I saying? It was a really good point, actually. So we're looking for a good girl like that, or to make a good girl like that. Oh man, it was something really, really good.
No, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Anyway, so what is the level of interaction required with other females to obtain the realization of appreciation? Oh, it was the thing about scarcity and, abundance. Yeah. So then it became like more realistic, but there's been so many challenges along the way And I tell you that more and more, each, because had a girlfriend and came close to making some other girl's girlfriend. Like my standard threshold for making a girl a girlfriend was too low.
Okay.
Because the girl became a girlfriend. I raised her up like just a fucking championship Olympic level coach. I swear to God. Angelica was so much more beautiful when we broke up than when we got together. She's 3.5 years older, but way beautiful. And that started from the very beginning. And it was mindset was the beginning of it. And, so I bring her up, but then new girls come into the picture and I'm thinking I can start them off where I started her off. But it devalued her girlfriend status to call any new girl girlfriend if that girl isn't up to par. And so what ended up happening after a few trials of that is it came to what became my next girlfriend after Angelica and I broke up was me actually investing in a second girl to bring her up to a standard that girlfriend A would be okay with her being girlfriend, meaning cut out guys, comply with me in a certain way, be soft, submissive, nurture my purpose, and and have a plan, a strategy with me, be on my strategy future where you're not doing anything other than, our umbrella, our family. And migrating in that direction, similar to how I was with ex-girlfriend. But then girlfriend A is getting so envious of I'm investing in this other girl, planning for her to be a girlfriend, might as well just call her a girlfriend. You know what I mean? Which again was a scarcity issue because had I 10 girls like that, it would have been spread out, blah, blah, blah. Who knows if relationship A would have lasted. But again, I kept trying, but it was too late. I kept trying to say something, and that's probably the problem. You can hear my tonality in it. I was trying to appreciate her for how far she had come. But there was too much blockage over the envy over this. There was a fundamental value difference. And then, so moving on to the next relationship, then there just wasn't enough females around. It was her and I for 2-3 months running around, barely interacting with other people, let alone other females in any, and it just became that marriage kind of nag, don't appreciate, even though we evolved tremendously because I'm a fucking superhero. She's way better after 4 months or whatever, way better, like insane. It's like she is insane to who she was, but really she's more sane, and then, so the hurt, what do you do with the hurt in yourself? Like, do you hurt when you interact with your wife and you like have a new girlfriend?
Do I personally hurt?
Yeah. Like why I'll take a antagonistic perspective. Like, so you said there's always hurt when the new girl comes in with, you've been with several new girls while married, but it hurts. I'm assuming you're meaning it hurts the wife. So why do you get to have all this pleasure and she has to keep going through hurt?
See, there's got to be a key there that I've not figured out how to unlock in her yet. And because it's obvious to me, when I say, as I'm speaking, I'm realizing the problem. I'm trying to make something chaotic. I'm trying to bring my order to it. And I can only bring so much before we can't both be order in the relationship. There has to be the chaos. So I guess that's her way of bringing that. But what I was saying logically, what we can appreciate is I'm going to do this moving forward. Are you with me or not? That's pretty clear. There's no gray area there, I would say. And when she chooses, okay, I'm with you, even through that. And then seeing me with other girls, we just had last weekend. Okay, I met this girl on the beach. She comes boating with us. I got a boat. We go surfing quite a bit. And my wife was hanging out with her good friend, Michelle, and she's got a little girl too. Michelle was actually going to come on the show with us. Michelle's the one who called in, for the Dr. Phil show.
Oh, okay.
In Michelle's life, none of this made sense. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not living your life and I'm not trying to live your life. I'm living mine. And it makes sense to me. So anyway, Erica's on the surfboard and it's me and the other girl on the boat. I'm having her drive, I'm just trying to teach her a little bit how to drive. Yeah. So she can come out with this more. And Erica's like crying on the surfboard.
Oh no.
And I'm like, okay, we got to stop. So I stop, pull her in. I'm like, this isn't fair to her. We wanted her to join us, you know. You were totally cool with it, but now you see her, and this girl showed up. She was better looking than the day I met her.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's always.
I'll tell you this. I said it because I said it well the other day, because when I pick up these Bumble girls, I don't give a shit about any of them, but I love using them to talk to about my past relationship, because I love analyzing it to them, and I get deeper understandings because I need their acknowledgement. It needs to make sense to them. And then I end up actually really liking the Bumble girl because she's understanding. If she doesn't understand, I don't like her. Like, you know, so one of these things is, I say to one of these girls, I say, I'm basically explaining the multiple relationship. And I'm like, what ends up happening is we subcommunicate. What the term is called defecting, when you defect from a relationship. And so let's say she has some behavior, some misbehavior that is you're interpreting as she must be talking to another guy. Whatever that behavior is that you think she's talking to another guy, that is a defection behavior. You are interpreting it as this is signaling that she's leaving the relationship. And we as men are signaling unconsciously defection signals when the new girl comes around. Okay. We're not aware yet that we are doing things or saying things or behaving in ways that our girl is genetically picking up as he's about to leave me for that girl. You know, and it's becoming aware of that. And that needs an abundance of women around, because it can't just be every once in a while I get the experience of a new girl while I'm with old girl. And I keep recreating mistakes. I need really new girl while I'm holding down old girl. And probably from that experience, really even, you know, then it just becomes so theory. I don't even know theory. But what I'm saying is that with abundance comes choice. And with choice is right behind it. Choice is leadership. Leadership has choice. And, you know, from leadership, the dynamic could be natural. And every bitch that I'm talking to would say something like, natural is more beautiful. So I think the relationship is much more beautiful and powerful when it's natural. And natural is the man leads, but the man can only lead if the man has choice. That's why I say no man are choosing monogamy except for the richest that could. But even them, most of them are so confined. I'd imagine, I don't know and I had to acknowledge that. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck $500 million in my bank account would do to my decision-making process. Maybe you know, I don't know. Maybe it's too risky to have multiple. I don't know. Maybe it only works when you're a poor $1 millionaire or whatever. I don't even know. I mean, I know Dan Bazillion or whatever has multiple women, but I've never, ever, ever been impressed by his women, except they look kind of sexy. But anything that they behave like, I wouldn't want that. Now, he seems very similar to, I don't want to make it sound in any negative way, because I mean this positive way. It's like similar to like Hypnotica, where it's more loose and free with the women. But I don't really like that. I don't want like just a bunch of like, you know, maybe if I was like a Kubla Khan and I had like my fucking harem in its own little castle, and then I have like 4 queens or 1 main queen, and then like other like juniors, whatever. But that's the richest man that ever lived. You know, that's a totally different thing. What I want is just ongoing communication with the female gender, because it entices so much communication from me and understanding. But I get worn thin on the same girl over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because I really like how she looks and everything, and her sound and everything, but her mannerisms become annoying to me, and then I become so controlling over those, and I lose appreciation for her. I end up pushing her away because I don't have another girl to hang out with, and I don't have another girl to hang out with, and if I do, old girl isn't okay with it, so she's gonna feel bad either way. So she needs to understand that for her salvation in this relationship, she needs another woman to be in love with me.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's going to be a daily reminder of her. Daily, I got a reminder of that, because everything other than my words is convincing her otherwise. The whole world outside of what I'm saying directly to her is convincing her otherwise.
Yeah.
So of
Absolutely.
course, every day I need to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
That's my mindset around it. But again, I don't even have one girlfriend right now. So this is pretty fucking absurd. But I'll tell you, in 2 weeks, I went on like, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 dates, or 6, 5 dates, 4, 5. I don't know. And that was just from like bumbling and Tindering while everything is closed. 2 weeks in a location. Not knowing anybody there, really even knowing what to do in town except just walk around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm about to move to San Jose and Bay Area, and I'll just go all up and down until things open up. And if things are opening up, then there's that level of game, because the whole point of moving to San Jose was, I mean, there's many points actually. It's around this, but the whole point of like living somewhere for 12 months is that my whole game, since college, I was doing a lot of Vince Kelvin games. So it was a very speed seduction. Then I graduate, and for 3.5 years, I'm traveling doing yoga, teaching yoga workshops. And so I'm never really establishing in a place and building reputation. And so I don't have that skill set. I mean, I do, because I've listened to Arash talk about it so much, but I haven't practiced it. So that's what I really wanted. And then what better opportunity than all the messengers? You know, we're all ethical guys in a big house so that we can leverage that house for Hypnotica style parties and, you know, all kinds of social media, you know, documentation and whatever, girls hanging out and whatever. And, you know, build up that skill set so I can take that back to whatever city I want to go to, if it's Houston or LA or Tampa or whatever, and recreate. And in fact, I kind of want to create all of those places, Toronto also, and, you know, create a mansion style living situation in all of those places. By the end of 5 or 6 years, I'm sure I'll have some quality relationships in my Rolodex.
Yeah.
For that
Absolutely.
treehouse yoga center that I would then move into and bring my 3 to 5 girlfriends, and all my buddies could come and hang out and, you know, really get away, unplug.
Cool. Chris, it looks like we have some questions. I don't know how you deal with questions.
Jordan Damari, knowing what you know about the male-female dynamic, would you still get married, and why? Jordan?
No, I wouldn't. I would still be with Erica, but I wouldn't be married to Erica. Just because, Jordan Damari, this is why it doesn't make sense. What do you call that? In the frame of the marriage, it's weird now for it to be what I've made it into be. And my wife doesn't hook up with anybody. She doesn't try to get with anybody. And it's not like I've been with quite a few women, but I'm not like, right now I'm focused on building my business right now. So I've actually kind of put girls like on a back burner, even though I might hook up here and there, but I'm not trying to make, I don't know, a bunch of girlfriends right now, just because it's going to take the way I like to do it. It takes a lot of money on my end, and I don't have that right now, you know, and I have kids with Erica. So it's different than me hooking up with any other girl, you know. I'm not going to try to go have kids with all these other girls.
Yeah.
I'm done with the 2, but I'm committed to them also. So I wouldn't get married, but I am now. So, and I've even told her that I'm going to unmarry her. You know, we've had this talk, and, you know, I was like, you know, I'm just going to do it but it was so devastating to her. It's like, you know, she's bawling. And when you love someone so much, it hurts your heart when you see them cry like that. You see them broken down. And I'm like, damn it, I just want to not hurt you anymore, kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah, I want to benefit her. You know, it's asking the right questions is, how is this benefiting her? And that's always the biggest stumper, when she finally figures out that question and says, how do I benefit from this? And then I got the answer for you, honey. So she's got to be her friend. She has to be her client. She has to be somehow looking up to your woman. She has to be loyal in some way, that she's going to never talk bad about your woman. They can't talk bad about each other at all. That, you know, somehow maybe even childcare responsibilities can be shared so she can have a night off. Like, she needs to be that, and, you know, that's how she benefits, you know, and maybe even more. You have someone to talk to, someone to hang out with, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to down talk our relationship. They're going to talk positively about me and us, and, you know, looks up to you, all those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I need to be screening new girls for. Anyway, Mr. Neil Care had questions, bunch of questions. Is it the duty of the man to aid in her evolution, even if she decides to leave you at some point? Well, no, once she leaves, then she's done. I did the thing that I tried to recreate the love after I fucked up. I had some fucked up communications. I made a lot of mistakes at the ending of my last relationship, like 3 in a row, just boom, boom, boom. And I had to acknowledge it that I fucked up on it. But truthfully, there was a bigger fuck up that was like a month earlier where I should have broken up with her a month earlier. So it was me holding on and trying to create something because it was a fantasy relationship. I had thought of it 5 years ago, never hit on the girl for 5 years. I just messaged her once every 2 or 3 months, finally became my girlfriend. And I announced it on January 1st, right after I broke up with Angelica, that I'm going to invite this other girl to live with me in Houston and see if it happens. And then it happened. And so it's documented on my YouTube, that law of attraction. I just boom, this, that.
Yeah.
And so I was attached to it, my ego. But I also still love her. And like the love is still there, Neil. But, you know, to aid her in her evolution, I never really want to be a detriment. So yes, the answer is yes, really, because I'm never really trying to not aid her in her evolution. I'm just so low investment right now that like it's friendly. It's just that. And what do you think, Jordan?
What do I think? Which part?
The question is it the duty of the man to aid her in her evolution if she decides to leave you at some point?
I think so, because I mean, we never really know if a woman's going to leave or not. There's many times Erica's told me she's leaving and she was going to leave, and she's still here. You know, we're still together. If he feels like that's, I was going to answer that differently, but that would sound weird coming out. So, yeah, I think so.
I see how I was really bringing out in her the threat of leaving by subtly or overtly threatening to take away my protection or to take away my commitment or to take away my resources. That when I insinuated those things, I saw how I was creating that later in her was then she would insinuate like wanting to talk to this guy or something like that. Like I was, you know, some disloyalty that I was bringing it out of her. The multiple relationships are so great because you learn cause and effect, and you can take that wisdom back to your relationships.
Yeah.
So you treat them better. Okay, Jordan, do you feel your wife is tolerating, you don't have to answer this if you want to, you feel your wife is tolerating your ideology more than accepting it?
Tolerating more than accepting it. Yeah, absolutely. Because if she accepted it, it wouldn't hurt her every time. So yeah, I think so. I think it's more of a tolerating thing. What she gets from me, she loves more than the hurt that brings. So yeah, it did. If she could have without that, then I think she would. But I mean, then I'm lying to her, and we're not going backwards.
That's right. Yeah. Understanding goes forward, and really, you know, I just keep getting reminded of I lead the direction, but we got to go at her speed. I can't force that, you know, and which is why it's so useful to have multiple women you're working with, because it gives you patience. Because one of the you'll appreciate more how far your wife is. Or, sorry, I don't mean to speak for you, but you'll appreciate how far your woman has gone. Anyway, so Mr. Neil Care, last question. You say you have a verbal question. What is it?
Yeah, so thanks, Chris. And also thank you to Jordan.
Oh,
you were mentioning about the new female coming in, and what you're saying is exactly what my thinking is. But then at what point is the potential for that to shift? I have my ideas, but I'd like to hear yours. And do you go there, or does the new female come in at a designated level? Like, was she able to surpass, let's say you're in a relationship, been in for a year, bring someone in, and what you've been working on your original girl, and is all of a sudden you're getting this dynamic from the new girl quicker? Does that, you go, right, you're head of the table now? How would that work, and have you experienced any of that?
Well, yeah, because a lot of girls like being the mistress. They got that mistress vibe, so they like being the one that, you know, she has more freedom, but she can take advantage of your more advanced goodness. because your goodness has gone up in your previous or the relationship you're in, because by handling her negativity, you became better. And the new girl takes advantage of your ascension and the fruits of your labors. And so she should respond more quickly than the original girl did, I think. And Jordan, were you about to say something?
Yeah, Mr. Neal. So where I messed up with my last girlfriend is I put her up there. I mean, it wasn't the same level as my wife, but very close. And I did it way too quickly. You know, I was just excited to do it more than anything.
Yeah.
And so I gave her maybe a lot. I put a lot more value on that than maybe was deserved. Not that she deserved less, but in the realm, I mean, the 10 years together, that means something. You know, it's not just, oh, this new girl, she's hot, younger, of course, you know. But I messed up there because I put her up there, same level as you're saying, way too fast. And rather than have her earn it more. And she was very loyal though. And even when we broke up for the next month, she didn't even talk to another guy because she wanted to get back with me so bad. And I was just like, no, we're not. But yeah, you know, I messed that up. But, you know, I learned from it and I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
So you think it's really important to monitor how easily we're accessible? And then, like you said, the key word is like, hey, you need to demonstrate to me, we need an exchange. You need to earn what I have to give to you before.
She needs to want it. She's never going to earn it until she wants it, because so it's really, it's attraction, comfort, seduction, attraction, comfort, seduction, and especially attraction, that she'll lose attraction if you're not treating her on these agreements that you have with her in the relationship. And, you know, we're unconsciously signaling defection. The problem is a problem of scarcity, that we're not practiced enough having multiple women around us while we have a loyal woman.
Chris, can I say something?
Yeah.
Mr. Neal, when your value is so high of what you bring to her, like something that she's really missing, and that's kind of how it was with my last girlfriend, and she's really going to want to earn it. You know, she's going to jump through the hoops or whatever it is that you require. Is kind of a funny word, but
yeah,
whatever it is you want her
good.
to do.
The X factor, man, it's the deep core leverage. That's what you use to leverage her heart, is that thing that she needs that she can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
but you don't even know that until you
need to be on yourself. Always focus on your elevating yourself. So like on what Jordan was saying, you're creating that drafting effect. As long as you're constantly being at a higher level to earn, like you said, she needs to want it. And then for you, Chris, when does it come to, hey, this pace is not working for me? Because then that needs to be exchanged.
Well, a lot of that is a scarcity thing, because you may be misjudging how fast a woman is capable of changing. You're judging it based on an opinion of maybe someone thinking how some other woman changed or whatever. That, you know, when you have multiple women that are changing and transforming forward, you'll appreciate each woman's, you could say, like clock, or how fast they change. And, you know, also the fact is that I am interested in having a more seductive relationship game, meaning I pull her more than I push her. I've been pushing the girl too much. I need to be pulling her. And the way to do that is to gently pull many women, because woman B will help pull woman A. Woman C will help pull woman B. Woman A will help pull woman B also. That every woman around you, depending on how pretty and compliant she is to you, blah, 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 will pull the other women into you. And then you'll have the leverage that you're looking for. Up until then, you have to convince her, which is great when you convince. It feels good to convince a woman, but she'll never hold true to that, because the world will dehypnotize her from it, and she has a genetic desires to feel secure, and we keep signaling insecurities.
Okay, so what on that, and then Jordan fill in. So until we actually, as the man, you demonstrate to her that you're not my only option. That's when you'll get this reciprocation moving forward. Or they'll just say, hey, this is not for me, I'm bailing out.
Never really throw it in her face like that.
Oh, no, not throw it in her face, but if I'm just in this one momentum.
He needs to be friends with whoever your second love interests are. If they're really that serious, if they're in some way serious like that, like you need to introduce them at some point before it gets that serious. It's not like, boom, pal, this is my second girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know?
So on that, this is the scenario that's happening for me is the messaging part. So, hey, look, I'm messaging other girls to lead into that because I haven't hid this from her. And that's why I asked Jordan that question about tolerating and accepting. And I feel there's sort of like a tolerance, but she doesn't really accept it because of the old paradigm.
You should be asking her then, do you tolerate this or do you accept this?
I haven't really got a direct answer. There's always a subject change.
Okay, well, you got to control her mind and get her, keep her on subject, which might mean ask it a different way, sound different when you do it. Hey, are you just like okay with this, or are you just like, do you see how you benefit from this?
Yeah, because I'm laying down all the foundations, like what you said before about you have a friend, there's someone you can interact with, and I feel there's certain things
You got to ask her.
I'm unable to give to you as a man. That's interacting between two females.
Yeah. I get that. You're in the theory stage, right? You need to present her more females that she actually gets along with, that she feels the benefits, because she needs to be able to explain it to you. You can explain it to her all day. You need to ask her questions and get her thinking, if you're in the theory phase right now, so that she can explain it to her whole family and friends and everything. Not that she's going to, but so that she gets practice doing that and get her mind and attention on her benefits, because that's what she gives a fuck about, is how she's going to benefit. And then while you get her all spun up on that, then go meet some new women and bring that women to your woman. And, you know, I think I had so much fear about messing up that I messed it up. And I was so afraid of looking weak that I ended up looking weak. And if I had just brought more chaos into it and just appeared beta because I didn't know how to lead certain situations, I'd probably still have all the women because I was willing to expose myself to that. And my brittleness to not expose to that just became a vibration. I repelled the girls, you know, overly controlling, whatever.
So it's being okay with the friction of it all.
Yeah. It's like Arash was lecturing for like a year on this in mentorship about the resistance inside, you know, and it's all an inner resistance. It's vibrations. It's just like I was talking about in Silent Flute. Like that was the ocean of vibrations. And what are you resisting in the ocean of vibrations? Right.
So in closing, and then let everyone else breathe and Jordan to expand
like
on this.
MC. We'll bring like MC care.
Yes, sir. So would then the precedence be in some regards, hey, look, this is my ultimate reality, but looking, okay, what is the parameter framework here? Find her a friend that adds to the vibration. Would that be a good way to lead off into it? Because I want to honor you, the girl, I want to do something for you, but the ripple effect is that in totality, it benefits all parties.
I'll tell you, you're on the right track. I think you're thinking too small, because it's more like, let me provide you 20 friends.
Okay.
Because some of those friends are not going to be loyal. They're not going to pan out. And she's going to feel that heartache just like you feel that heartache when the second girl leaves. And so really you need to provide her a tribe. And really, I don't know how to do it differently than Arash Tibazar. So you got to have a place that women can go, that they can be safe, that they can improve, that they feel safe. And sorry, I said that, but like protection, how do you protect them? A bodyguard, a fucking pit bull, a alarm system, teach them martial arts, knife, whatever. Like, because the framework is that don't talk to any other guys because I have to guard you and I'm protecting you. And your biggest threat is other guys. And so what the fuck are you bringing in the biggest threat to occupy my time as a bodyguard? I should be creating a fucking pyramid. And you are taking my conscious attention and energy because you got to talk to other guys. Where are you unfulfilled in life that you need a conversation? And that the solution to that is what Arash Bazaar has developed. And maybe there's another way, but let me learn the backflip before I try to reinvent it some way.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. So if you're seeing this, definitely come to the boot camp. The boot camp is the thing to do. So the boot camp is June 26, 27, 28. There's maybe going to be one every month. Who knows how long these things happen for. Remember, Kobe Bryant went down real fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't want to waste time on this shit. And so message me if you're interested in the boot camp in San Jose. And if you're catching this recording, which you likely are, definitely subscribe. You must subscribe because you don't want to miss these episodes. This is, you don't know how good this is until you're about to leave this podcast. And it's the contrast, just like you get a second girl, see the contrast with the first girl. As soon as you get off this podcast, you see the contrast in how other people talk. Unless you're by yourself, and then it's a little different. If you get right into communication with someone, then you'll see. Okay, any last messages? Everybody follow Jordan on Instagram. It's, what is it, _J__Susi?
Something like that. Yeah, J.__Susi. And I'm not really on Instagram much. I need to re-Instagram. It's pretty old.
All right. Well, that's super cool. If anybody has questions about Jordan's experience, is really what I'm thinking. Someone catches this recording later, like YouTube, Instagram, or whatever, iTunes or whatever, and they're in a similar situation and they hear this and it's like, man, I want to hear what Jordan is doing. Then they can find you on Instagram that way.
Yeah. Chris, thank you very much.
You're welcome, brother. And thanks everyone for showing up. Look forward to seeing you at the boot camp. Namaste.